Hello, guys. You might be feeling happy to be alive right now, and so did this human right over here, which I'm drawing. He is a human and a pretty ugly one, and he's very happy. He's very happy to be alive. He's happy. And he started thinking that what are the stuff his body needs to do to keep him alive. He started wondering what are the stuff his body do to keep him alive. And he resolved that his body do the stuffs to keep him alive that a dead body doesn't do. That's why it's dead. But a dead body doesn't does not perform. And his body performs those stuff which a dead body fails to do. And you might wonder why a body needs to perform these kind of stuff to keep itself living. Well, because our environment in which we live is putting continuous pressure on us through several ways or several factors, and those factors could be pathogens, and it could be friction due to movement of different joints, and it could be many more stuffs which put pressure on the body and it affects its functioning. And in order to be happy, healthy, and living, our body needs to do some repair jobs to repair the damage caused by these factors. Repair the damage caused by these factors, and thus our body needs to do several processes to keep itself alive. These processes are what we call life processes. These life processes are basically those processes which a living being perform to be living, to continue its life. Now, I encourage you to list or try to list some of these processes, or just name it, or just try to figure it out. So by now I assume that you must have thought something, and you must have came up to with some guesses. So by now I assume that you have got some ideas or some guesses of about types of life processes that we do to sustain our living. So you might have heard elsewhere that if a human doesn't take any food for 1 week, then he may die. Or he will die. So you might guess that taking in food and water is an essential life process, and we need to do it. We have got a good nice term for it. We have good nice term which we call nutrition for this process, and it means that it is the life processes, and we have got a good nice term for it, that is nutrition. Nutrition is the process by which any organism obtain its food from its surrounding. So nutrition is just the process by which any organism obtain its food from its surrounding. And there are many subtypes of nutrition like heterotrophic, autotrophic, and we'll discuss it later. And one more life process which you might figure out is that respiration. Let me write it down. Respiration. And in respiration, there are two subtypes of respiration, and I will explain you what respiration is. But you need to see this tree. There are two types of respiration. One is internal, and the other is external. So respiration is just the process that human do to utilize this food and get energy. So there are two types of respiration. One is internal and the other is external. Internal means the respiration which is taking place inside your cell. So it just refers to the chemical reaction, that is the breakdown of sugar into water and carbon dioxide and energy. And external respiration, it just means that taking oxygen from the surrounding to the lungs, and removal of carbon dioxide from the lungs to the surroundings. So I assume that you might have guessed already what is external respiration. So external respiration is just breathing, the process of breathing. You might have already guessed that a human must breathe, or if a human stops breathing, then he die. So a human must breathe in order to live. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. Did I miss anything? Oh yes, I missed something right between nutrition and respiration, and that is what we call, that process is what we call transportation. So what does this transportation really is? It's just a mechanism by which we transfer food, which we gain through nutrition, to all the body cells. Since we are multicellular and all the cells need to live in order to keep the whole organism living as a whole. So all the cells in the body, each and every individual cell needs food. But we take food from our mouth and it goes to our stomach and then get digested in intestines. Then how every cells will get food? And the only way to do that is transportation. And a matter of fact, the transportation not only the process transportation, it not only transports food, but it transports oxygen, gases, carbon dioxide, salts, waste products, etc., etc. It transports a bunch of things. It transports blood cells, white blood cells, many things, proteins, and we will get deeper to the detailed later videos. So moving on to next life process, and I assume, or I guess that you might have not been able to figure this out, and this one is one of the most important one, and it is what we call excretion. So it is the process. So from here till here we have, oh my goodness, wait a minute, so I'm sorry for that. So from here to here we have got our food, we have transported it, we have respired, or we have gained energy from that food, and through a reaction, and we have got some waste products from these reactions. And a matter of fact that these waste products are very, very, very toxic, very toxic, and it must be removed from the body, or else if it accumulates, we will again die, which we don't want to. So we remove this whole waste products through the process called excretion. Now, some of you might say or might guess that another life process is reproduction. Another life process could be reproduction. But in fact, it's not. It's not, because reproduction is not necessary for an individual to sustain its living. Rather, reproduction is essential for the continuation of the whole species of that organism. It's not necessary for a particular individual organism to reproduce, to sustain its own living. It's not necessary. but it's necessary to continue the whole species of that particular organism. So reproduction is not considered as a life process because it's not necessary, but because it's not important to reproduce to continue your life. That was the whole intro of life processes, and we are done.